Okay then, so you've decided on your design, and now we need to work out how much fabric that we need. On the block that I've got here, as I showed you, you've seen last time, let's go and have a look at how I've worked things out. So I've drawn a block, and I know how many of these blocks I need to make my quilt. So I'm able to work out what I need for one block, and then what I need to do the whole quilt. So for my block here, we've got half square triangles, which is HST. We've got a 4-patch block here, and we've got just a plain square block there. So I need one of those for each block. I need 4 medium and dark half square triangles for each block, and I need 4 4-patch blocks. Now these blocks are made up of 2 dark, 1 medium and 1 light. So I've just detailed it all there. I've got my little diagram here of how it's going to lay out. I've got the measurements of those squares. These are all before they're sewn in, so this is including their seam allowance. So I'm doing a large quilt, so 42 blocks. So I've times how many of these individual pieces that I need for the whole quilt. Once you've decided on your quilt size that you want to try, we can work out then the maths of how much you need. So I'm going to show you how to make half square triangles in different ways. I'm going to list them all, but for my quilt and for working out how much fabric I need, I'm going to work out how many I need to get 16 at a time, and to make up the number of blocks I got to do one lot at 4 at a time. So we'll work out that. So when it comes to creating half square triangles, there's lots of different ways. You can work out which way you find easier, and we can adjust that fabric requirement to what you can do. So I've worked out how much light, medium and dark fabrics I need for these. So for my half square triangles, this is my doing out the maths of what size I needed for my blocks, and then I know then how to create how much I need to work out fabric requirements. So I need 13-inch squares in medium and dark times 5. I need a 7.5-inch in medium dark, one each. Centre square is just going to be 42 4.5-inch blocks of light, because we've got 42 blocks. My 4-patch units over the whole quilt, I'm going to need 168 of those. Within that, each of those blocks, I've got, for each block, I've got 4 light blocks, I've got 4 medium blocks, and I've got 8 dark blocks. Over the course of the quilt, I need 168 each of the medium and light, and 336 for the dark, because I've got twice as many. So I've got here 1 block, 42 blocks, and this is the size blocks I need. So this is where I do like technology. I suggest that if you've got a smartphone, that you download this app. So it's this one here. It's the Robert Kaufman Calculator, Quilting Calculator, and it is so useful. You can work out your fabric measurements. It will tell you how much batten you need, which we call wadding. Let's go back. What you can get to the yardage, how much you'll need for binding, if you're going to add borders, if you want a square and a square, it'll give you the measurements for that. If you're going to set things in triangles, and it's got some here which is useful, some of the most common quilt sizes. So when it comes to working out your yardage, so pieces to yardage area. So in the US, we're talking about yards. A yard is bigger, no, it's 0.9 something of a metre. So I always round it up and will buy the same number of meters as yards, and I always round it up to the nearest half a meter. Which width of fabric, depending on where you're getting it from, it will vary. Here we tend to have 44. So again, I'm leaving it at 43 because it's better to have too much than not enough. So here, quantity of pieces that I need to be cutting. So let's go for, what was it, 13-inch square. So there, I'm going to keep that 43. I need 5 pieces of 13-inch square, and it needs to be 13 inches by 13 inches. Calculate, and then it will tell you how much you need. So it rounds it up here, you need 0.722, so it rounds it up to the 3/4. It tells you how many pieces you can get, length and width. So you do that for all your pieces. Very difficult for you to see on the camera. However, download the app and see how it works out. It is very useful. I quite often forget I've got it. I remember this is the only time I tend to remember to use it, but there is a lot more on there that can prove to be so much use, especially like when you're thinking of binding and the borders. When it comes to the binding, so again, the width of the fabric, here I tend to do 2.5. So it will tell you, if you put your width of your dimension and length of your quilt, it will tell you how much binding you need. So you know here we've got regular binding and bias binding. When we're doing our quilt, most of it is regular binding. We don't need to cut it on the bias. So that is a really useful app to use. So that will tell us exactly how much we need for our quilt. So depending on the size of your quilt, it will depend what you need. So to go shopping for your quilt, if you're doing a large one, if I added the ones up, you see here I've got medium, dark and light, and listed all the different ones that it's told me I need. So I've got 2 meters for the medium and large and 2.5 for the dark. So if I'm going to go and buy fabric now, I know exactly what to do.